Right, so you wanted to learn about building local economies. And specifically in really unique settings. We found this plan to revitalize a town's economy in a small African town without internet access. It's fascinating. And their focus is on using traditional market days.
Right.
But it's not just setting up some stalls.
Right. The cool thing is how it uses the local multiplier effect.
Okay.
Every time someone spends money locally, it starts a chain reaction.
So if I buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about it. A farmer sells produce at the market. They take that money and pay the local carpenter.
Okay.
Then the carpenter buys supplies from a shopkeeper in town. And on and on. It keeps the money in the community instead of going to big corporations.
That makes a lot of sense. But so how do you actually maximize that? How do market days do that?
Well, the plan has this clever strategy. First, divide the market into zones.
Okay.
One for produce, another for crafts, maybe even livestock.
Right. So it's organized like a supermarket is. So people know where to go.
Exactly. Then to keep things interesting and to help everyone, rotate market days between villages.
Oh, so each village gets a turn to host. But wouldn't that be hard to coordinate?
They thought of that. They suggest this low-tech solution, a community notice board, updated weekly in a central spot so everyone knows the schedule.
That's clever. So it's about communication. And I guess they offer some benefits to get vendors involved.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Things like lower stall fees for regular vendors, even access to shared tools and facilities.
Okay, so everyone benefits if the market does well. That covers the market days themselves. But what about the bigger picture, actually building a local economy that's sustainable?
That's where it gets exciting. They emphasize building local capacity, meaning people can make goods and services right there. They suggest craft cooperatives for learning skills.
So like a pottery cooperative.
Right.
Experienced potters teach new people, share their knowledge, and they could share resources like kilns and workspace.
Yeah, like a community incubator for businesses. And it goes beyond pottery. Think about adding value to agriculture. Instead of just selling milk, farmers learn to make cheese.
Right, or yogurt.
Right.
Increases the value of what they're selling. Yeah. So they make more money.
Exactly. And it goes deeper than economics. It builds pride and makes people self-sufficient.
I see what you mean. But wait, this town doesn't have a lot of internet. So how do they handle money? Is it straight bartering?
Bartering is part of it, but they also have ideas for what they call complementary trade systems, like community credit notes, basically a local currency.
Oh, wow.
Backed by the community itself.
So you could use them to buy things within the town.
Exactly. And it gets better. The plan says these credit notes could even help young people get small loans.
Interesting.
Backed by the community. Kind of like microfinancing, but based on trust. Something a bank would never do.
That's incredible, like building their own economy based on sharing.
Exactly. And speaking of sharing, they also talk about shared infrastructure, like having community storage, especially for farmers.
Oh, yeah. So after harvest.
Yeah.
A big shared storage space.
Exactly. To help reduce all that post-harvest loss.
Keep the food fresh for longer.
Yeah.
So there's stuff at the market year-round.
Yeah, and it helps with prices, too.
Right. Because if farmers don't have to sell everything right away.
Exactly. They have more control, more power when they sell. And they even suggest tool lending libraries, too.
I love that. If you need a certain tool, but can't afford it.
You just borrow it.
Exactly. Makes things cheaper.
Right. And gives access to tools they might not normally have.
It's all about that community helping each other thing.
It is. Working together instead of struggling alone. And to keep things running smoothly, they even suggest organized transportation.
Instead of every single farmer going to market on their own.
Yeah. They can share a truck or something.
Make it more efficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They even talk about carpools for people coming from the villages.
Okay, so we've got the markets, the training, the trading systems, the shared resources.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Now for the fun part. Branding. And sharing the town's unique culture.
It's about more than just things, right? It's the story, the experience.
They suggest a label. Made in our town,
right,
for everything they make locally.
So you know exactly where it came from, makes you feel connected.
Right, and think about it with the barter system, too.
What?
Trading a made-in-our-town basket for some made-in-our-town produce.
Builds that local pride.
Exactly. It's like giving the whole town a brand. And they want to go even further than that. Bringing cultural events into the market days.
Okay.
Like music, traditional dances, stories from the elders.
Wow.
Makes it more than shopping. It's experiencing the culture.
Yeah. You really connect with the people and the place.
And that makes people want to come back.
So it can really help the economy long term. We've talked about a lot. This plan is really in depth. But how do they know it'll actually work? It's one thing to have it written down, but what about in real life?
That's where it gets even more interesting. They came up with ways to test it, even without all the technology we're used to. Simple ways to see if their ideas will really have an impact.
So they want to test things out. But without all those fancy tools and data, how do they do that?
They get creative. One idea is what they call paper-based transaction mapping.
Okay.
People at the market, volunteers. Instead of smartphones, they have notebooks and pens.
So it's like a busy market, and these people are
Writing everything down. Let's say you buy tomatoes from a farmer. They write down who you bought from, what you bought, how much you paid.
So they're making a record of where the money goes.
Yes, like a paper trail. And by following that, they can actually see the multiplier effect.
Oh, wow.
They can see how the money from those tomatoes goes to the blacksmith. When the farmer buys tools, and then the blacksmith uses that money to paro. You see?
Yeah. It's like you're connecting all the parts of the economy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's more than just the money. They can use that data to see what people are buying, or if there are problems.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
But what about the rest of the town? How do they get involved in this testing?
They suggest doing role-playing, like simulations in their town meetings.
Simulations?
Yeah. Imagine the town hall turns into a market.
Okay. I like where this is going.
Everyone participates. Some are farmers, some are artisans, some are shopkeepers.
Like a big game.
Yeah. They pretend to sell things, bargain, even try out new ideas.
That sounds fun, but also useful.
Exactly. It helps them see problems before they happen and practice how to make deals, which, trust me, can get competitive even more than like Wall Street.
Wow. So it brings everyone together, too.
It does. And then to keep track of everything, they measure a few key things. How many new businesses are started, if unemployment changes, how much is being sold at the market, and they even ask people how it's going.
So they're really paying attention to the results to see if it's working.
Right. It's not just guessing. They're using the information to make decisions. A great example of how a community can control their own future.
This whole deep dive has been amazing. I never thought market days could be so important.
It shows you what people can do, even without a lot of resources. They're using what they already have to make things better.
Yeah, it's really inspiring. It gives me hope.
It should. Makes you think. What if we did this in our own communities? What could we achieve?
That's a great question. Something for everyone to think about. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and remember, communities can make the world a better place.